Let's take a look at forecasting an employee's potential for growth. The core talent management program in larger companies focuses on accelerating high potential employees. What do we mean by potential? We accumulate experiences that often cause us to see and do things differently, and there are some things that we repeat habitually. Habits help us take care of routine matters and allow us to open up our brains to process priorities for change or take more demanding tasks. As we process these things, we're continually growing. We tend to assume that people are growing at a different rate and on a different curve. There's probably a point where rate of growth levels off. So when we assess potential for growth, we're asking which employees are not leveled off. Employee growth potential is focused on developing people into leadership roles, but the principles can be applied for different types of roles in tomorrow's organizations whose structures and content we cannot predict today. In most of the developed world, there are more executives leaving the workforce than entering it, and the nature of work is changing. Work at all levels requires much more adaptation and cognitive skills than in previous generations. Flatter, less stable, and more dynamic organizations have increased the need for models so that they can assess whether an employee has potential. One simple model has three elements: change, conviction, and commitment. It's known as the 3 Cs. The change lens looks at the employee from the viewpoint of how they set an agenda for change. The key issue for evaluating potential is whether the person sees him or herself as a change agent. With the conviction lens, the focus is about how employees convince others of their convictions. Strong beliefs provide a source of clarity. That clarity of direction enables leaders at all levels to communicate well. In the commitment lens, we look at whether there's evidence that employees have the capability to commit, often referred to as follow-through, or the ability to translate change agendas and convictions into action. In assessing potential, many organizations are looking at the issues that could block growth or derail someone from moving ahead. There's a difference between becoming derailed and not performing in a role. Someone may not be performing due to lack of knowledge or poor supervision, but derailment is a more fundamental issue, and there are many obvious signs of repeated stress or inability to function in core parts of a role over time. Learning agility is a positive indicator of potential. People with this characteristic have a desire to learn, an innate curiosity about the world around them, and they have the ability to react quickly to changing demands. Emotional intelligence has become a key issue in organizations. Emotional and social agility is the ability to move seamlessly across different environments. Today's psychologists have agreed on the big five characteristics that predict success: extroversion, agreeableness, openness, conscientiousness, and neuroticism. Previously, because there are fewer roles and less hierarchy in today's organizations, more time needs to be spent identifying these roles and developing characteristics identified by potential lenses. The organization that uses the 3 lens approach for looking at potential growth, along with an inventory of positions where the organization can test potential, is an exciting place for employees to be. A transplant look at what they bring to their roles and what could prevent them from being successful provides a clear path for development. The rapid pace of demographic, technological, socioeconomic, and geopolitical change worldwide is reshaping the world of work. Organizations are being challenged to rethink the way business is being done, especially when it comes to talent assessment and the strategies used to develop and nurture leadership pipelines. The best way to prepare is to create the right blend of art and science in order to assess leaders' skills, abilities, and knowledge gaps. This will help ensure that organizations remain competitive to attract, develop the best talent. The mark of highly desirable talent is skills agility. As employers look to build a strong leadership pipeline, nurturing learnability and employability are key to developing leaders ready to face the needs of tomorrow. Developing an agile workforce depends on identifying and nurturing leaders who can build a culture centered on continuous learning and flexibility. Identifying leaders capable of affecting profound cultural change begins with the right model, in touch with today's employment and skills landscape. Assessing an individual's strengths and weaknesses not only identifies the best candidates for leadership roles, but also helps map out a developmental program to support high potentials and all talent levels and build their strengths. The science of assessment continues to grow in sophistication, scope, and accuracy. Advances allow us to reliably connect those behaviors to business outcome. The use of adaptive questionnaires to assess cognitive abilities and development is revolutionizing the talent assessment process. Rather than working their way through a large, static set of questions, applicants answer the first question, which in turn determines the next question, and so on. This process hones in on nuances quickly and enables more sophisticated performance ranking in less time. The interview is the most frequently used method of leader selection. However, frequency there is too little analysis of the role being filled, too little structure, and too little attention paid to assessing applicants in a systematic way. In the feedback assessment, evaluators solicit feedback from those who work with the candidate in his or her current role, typically managers, peers, and direct reports. Often, these also tend to factor in non-reliable criteria. The expectations for leadership are evolving as well. Core capabilities are rapidly moving away from expertise and control in favor of a role that centers on facilitation and creating a shared vision. Leadership assessment methodologies and effectiveness measurements will need to follow suit. In the human age, leadership assessment will be more data driven and results oriented than ever.